We often talk about creating beautiful and cozy spaces, but do we really know if what we're creating will look good with the rest of the house or with each other? Today I'm going to talk to you about something I use a lot on the Decorate Your Home channel. And it's a program for creating floor plans in 3D or 2D, and it's called Home by Me. I know there are a lot of apps that can replace it that you could use on your phone, but I haven't found any that I like and that are also free. I'll show you one that has always worked really well for me. I did my grandma's bathroom with it, and I also did my parents' apartment. And now, a new project that's on my mind, I've also done it in 3D. And why do I almost always create 3D plans? Because it really helps me first to structure the work, because I can see the before and after. I wish this was over, but well, at least we have it in mind. You can, in a simple way, structure all the steps you need to reach that point. The materials, count all the materials you're going to need, and above all, make sure everything fits and matches. Not just the materials themselves, but also, as I was saying, with the rest of the rooms, so that everything is in harmony. So we can create not only our room in 3D, but also our entire house, above all. I really like it for big projects, although I use it for everything, but for big projects it's great for that, to see the complete structure and combine materials. For example, when remodeling the kitchen, we can say these tiles will go well with the ones planned for the bathroom. It's true that not all materials are available, some fit better and others less so. But it allows you to have a perspective and see something a little more realistic about your project. So, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use the program, although I have to say it's super easy, but most importantly, how to get the most out of it. Let's get started. First, we go to the homebyme.com website, sign up, and we can do it directly through Google, so we don't have to enter any passwords or anything. And then it asks us several questions. Here we can already define whether it's a new construction or just a renovation, whether it's a bathroom, a kitchen, or whatever it may be. And then enter the measurements, which is very important, but they don't have to be exact because we can modify them later. Once the floor plan is complete and filled in, the result is a square or rectangular shape. It depends on what we've chosen, whether it's one room or several. And then, by clicking on these lines, you see, we can adjust the measurements. If we haven't made it big enough and we need more space because the room is actually bigger, then we just move it according to our needs. It's very important to enter the exact measurements, because that way, if we place a bed, we can reduce or increase the size of the bed so it fits exactly to ours. Well, it's super helpful, because that way you know how much space you have left if you have the exact measurements of everything. So I recommend that the measurement of the room be as exact or as close as possible, just like the measurements of everything else. Once we have this, what I always do next is put in the floor and the walls. We can do it in a super easy way. Let's go to coverings. And we choose. Well, among the billions that there are, especially colors, there are so many, maybe stone or brick and so on. It's not surreal, but flat colors, let's say plain colors, well, they are what they are. And it's very easy. We just select the wall, place it, and that's it. Once we have our walls and floor, which, by the way, we can choose for the floor, whether it's a wood imitation or a tile, we have many options to choose from. When I see that things are starting to match, then I move on to the furniture. Honestly, what I find hardest to choose is usually the walls and the floor. With furniture, I usually have an intuition about what I want, but with walls and floors, it's unbelievable. That's what I think about the most, so I start there. If furniture is harder for you, you can do it the other way around. If you have a piece of furniture that's really clear to you, then you put the furniture first and then choose the wall that matches best. The thing is, once we have the walls and the floor, I go ahead and place the windows and doors to make sure they won't get in the way. When it comes to placing the furniture, when you place a door or a window, it already shows up as a half opening, because unless it's a sliding door, that door is going to get in the way and interrupt us in that room. So, when arranging the furniture, we have to take into account where the door is located. The window as well, because if we place a very tall piece of furniture, it's going to get in the way, it's going to block natural light, and that's something we never want. So once we have the door and the window, what we can do is adjust the measurements. We measure our door and we measure our window and we transfer it to our program. And that way, everything is much more detailed and everything is much more realistic. We try to make this plan fit reality as much as possible. Once all this is set up, we move on to the furniture. We just have to click on the Furnishing tab, and here we find the different sections for each room in our house. So if we choose to make a bathroom, we can always go to that section and get several ideas. Or we can go to the search bar and look for whatever we need. What I really like about this app is precisely the fact that you can reduce and enlarge measurements. Because when you place a piece of furniture and it doesn't fit the measurement, it always sticks out and might not match reality. As we've said, if you start making changes and the measurements aren't the same as what you have, then I don't see much point in it, because the whole point of creating a floor plan is for things to fit together. It's to know how much available space you have, if there's enough room to walk through, if 2 or 3 people will fit, and so on. So being able to shrink or enlarge the furniture is a really great option. We can also change the colors of the furniture, which is perfect, for example, for the kitchen. Because we can change the color of the furniture and the color of the countertop. And then we can see if the color of our furniture really matches the one we've chosen for the countertop, already having the tiles, the little piece of furniture with its color, with the handle, which we can also customize, the handle and the countertop. And by looking for some accessories that we can also find, like decorative items, we can make the space more pleasant, cozier. We can look for things like cups, trays. The truth is, there are all kinds of accessories you could want. Or plants, which I really like. I usually choose tall, large plants and use them for decoration. So being able to add that kind of accessory makes it even more realistic. Maybe we can't find exactly the piece of furniture we want because it has very specific features, it's from a particular store, and it's hard for us to find it. We can find something similar, adapt it to the measurements, and ensure it matches the color. And that way, let's see if it's going to match our chairs or with a wardrobe we plan to put in. I'm telling you, the biggest advantage I see in this program is being able to see your project in a more realistic way and, above all, helping you plan your entire renovation. But it's also really nice to see it finished and say, wow, it turned out so beautiful. Well, now our plan is all ready to start working, which is the most difficult part. The 3D plan is great, but you do it sitting down and then comes the real work, right? It's very practical, I fully recommend it. If you have a project in mind, put it down first and then you can start, but at least have a general and overall idea of what you want. I hope you liked and found the video useful. See you in upcoming videos. See you soon.